That was great. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Bird's Views. My name is John, and today we're watching the most awaited series, in my opinion, in the MCU on Disney Plus, Loki. Starring Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson. I've seen WandaVision, I've seen the Captain America boys, and to be honest, this is the show that I'm looking forward to the most, because, you know, I enjoyed Wanda, I thought Captain America boys was okay, but this seems like the show that I'm really into. I think Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson are like real actors, they have some gravitas to them, and they're the most intriguing characters, if nothing else. But before we begin, if you want to get early reviews just like these, be sure to subscribe and maybe give the video a like if you can, would really appreciate it. And without any further ado, let's talk about the God of Mischief himself, Loki. Firstly, I gotta say, I really love how these are 6 full 1-hour episodes as opposed to like 9 23-minute episodes. I really enjoy that. It feels a little bit more cinematic and doesn't feel like they have so much filler going on. So the first question that I have right off the bat is, why did the time variance authority allow the snap to happen? You know, it's like, it seems like, much like the Eternals, that should have been a thing that they got involved in. And then it also kind of, if you think about it, it kind of discredits every movie in the MCU, right? Because if this is what they're saying, then it kind of explains why every time Spider-Man or whoever go head-to-head against a bad guy, hypothetically, the TVA is making sure that the hero wins. Do you know what I'm saying? It doesn't really seem like a fair fight. It just kind of discredits the heroes at winning, because if something didn't work out, then maybe Owen Wilson went back and reset it. I'm just saying, it kind of dampers our heroes a little bit, and I don't know how you feel about that. But like I said, I think Loki has a lot more layers to him than, say, like, you know, Sam or Bucky. I like those characters. I think they just work better as side characters. Yeah, Bucky's just a little too moody for my taste. Alright, so this is by far the best scene in the episode. Loki sees his entire life play out. He sees his father die. He sees his mother die. He sees that he makes peace with Thor. And then finally he sees his own death. And I really love this scene. Like I said, much like the Shrek layers, Loki is very layered. But I really like that they wasted no time getting us to a certain level of, okay, we're not going to waste time trying to make this guy a good guy again. We're going to kind of speed things up and maybe do something a little bit different. But yeah, there's a lot of humanity to Loki that I think he tries to push way down. And my god, Tom Hiddleston is amazing in this scene. Watching him watch that footage, it really humanizes him, because we're so used to just seeing Loki always put on a show. He's always fronting. He's always doing his bit. And, you know, it's a great scene. It's fantastic. It's great. You know, it's not only just the turning point of the episode, but it's really showing you what the character arc is going to be for Loki, and I'm really excited to see where they go with it. Also, I gotta say, I'm really enjoying Owen Wilson as Morbius. You know, he really brings that Owen Wilson-ness that we all love about him. He's always keeping his cool. He would be fantastic in HR. Yeah, I dig it. I really dig it. He brings the levity that the show needs when Loki is constantly having a little hissy fit. This video is fantastic. I don't know if it was intentional, but this video is definitely giving me vibes of like the first Jurassic Park when they're watching the DNA video and the cute little thing comes out. And right? They were definitely doing that, right? I'm not the only one who sees that, right?
No particularly dangerous variants. You're just a little pussycat.
That's how the MCU takes a dig at you in the cleanest way possible.
I don't enjoy hurting people.
And yeah, this is another fantastic scene, you know, Loki talking about how he doesn't want to hurt people. How he does it because, and I don't know if he even really believes this, maybe he does, I'm not really sure, but him doing this whole monologue about how he doesn't want to hurt people and how he does it because it's a means to an end and it's part of his show, and I really dig that. Now granted, knowing Loki, this could be another ruse that he's trying to manipulate Morbius, and I'm sure that's partly what it is, and I'm sure there's a little bit of truth to it, but regardless, another great scene with Tom Hiddleston. We're only in episode 1, and this show is killing it, man. So my biggest question in all this is, can the TVA potentially bring back Tony Stark? I know there's been rumors lately about how they could potentially bring back Robert Downey Jr., and just looking at this, like, I have no doubt, if you want to bring him back, this is the easiest way to do it. Again, it always comes down to contracts and negotiations, but yeah, that would be a fantastic way to course correct. I mean, I guess you can kind of course correct anything with the TVA, right? You can really change anything in the entire Infinity Saga if you want to, I think. I don't know, time travel in this show is a little bit complex to me. It feels like they kind of just make it up as they go, because there are certain things that, like, they break their own rules, I feel. But, I don't know. We'll see. It's still interesting. I don't get hung up on it. I kind of go, just go for the ride. So, I'm looking at this, and all I could think is, like, I know what the internet's gonna say. I know I'm gonna go and watch New Rockstar, and they're gonna be like, it's Mephisto! And personally, I think that it's not. I think one of two things. One, I think the MCU shows love trolling people, kind of like, what's his name? Boner over here. And I think they're going to be dropping hints about Mephisto until the end of time. I think it's going to be their little inside joke with the audience, kind of like Howard the Duck. I think there's nothing real behind it. And if you look at the stained glass, those horns are very reminiscent of Loki. Like, the scene that comes to mind is when Loki is in the Avengers, and he has everybody on their knees. He's got those giant big horns on his head. That's what I think of. It's probably evil Loki. I have no idea who that person is in the black robe. I'm just, obviously no one does, I'm speculating. I have a feeling that it's not Loki. I got a feeling that it's like the big bad of the series. If I know anything from watching WandaVision, and maybe even Captain America Boys, is that it's not... They always do a misdirect. They're really big on their misdirects, and it's gotta be the big baddie, right? It's too obvious. If Owen Wilson says that's him, it just seems a little too on the nose for that to actually be the case. There's usually more pieces to the puzzle. Also, another hot take that I have is that I think that Loki, since he is out of place in time, which is actually kind of funny, it's like a Captain America thing, but he has no place on a timeline, I think the person that they're chasing down is actually Loki that we have in episode 1, but in the future. So as to say that everything that we know from the Infinity Saga, that's kind of now a different Loki, and this Loki is a whole new timeline. But I think he's essentially chasing down himself, and Owen Wilson, maybe he knows this, and he's trying to utilize himself to do it. And we might even have like a predestination situation, where it's like, the snake that eats its own tail, and it's kind of like a loop. It goes around and around and around. That's just a hunch. It could be a real evil Morty situation, which is funny because it actually has one of the same writers from Rick and Morty. What's his name? Michael Waldron, I think his name is. He's one of the showrunners on the show. So yeah, and I do get some vibes of Rick and Morty, so that would be pretty cool if they had an evil Loki who is essentially Loki from the future. And you heard it here first. That's my hot take. That's what I think they're doing, but I guess time will tell. Mephisto is way too obvious. Having it be like just a random bad guy has been done to death, to the point that it's like, we're so tired of these generic one-note villains. And you have some more emotional depth if he's actually fighting himself, and they actually do allude to it, but I don't think it's just a parallel version of Loki. I think it's the same exact Loki that we're watching right now, but in the future. This show is all about time travel, and that would be really damn cool if that's what Owen Wilson was trying to do, is like use the earlier Loki to go after the later day Loki, even though it might be predestination type of stuff, where maybe it's just like one giant loop and it is what it is, but interesting nonetheless. And no, there's no post-credit scene. I wouldn't expect one. There's usually only 2 per season, and they tend to be towards the end. Also, I know I'm going to be an outlier here, but I'm a little bit disappointed in the DB Cooper scene. I feel like that could have been a mid-season entire heist episode, and it just feels like a throwaway flashback kind of thing. It's cool, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it. It was cool. I just wish they definitely could have done more with it. You know what I mean? That could have been a whole heist Casino 11 type of episode, and it would have been fantastic. It's fine, I just wish it was more. They really play it up in the trailer like it's gonna be more, and it's just like, oh, it's a fun little Easter egg. But you know what? At the same token, this show is now keeping me on my toes, and I don't know which way it's up, and in a show that's basically a mystery, on episode 1, I enjoy that. I really enjoy that, and this was a lot of fun. It's easily my favorite of the three MCU shows. I mean, maybe WandaVision is kind of giving it a little bit of competition, but like I said, I wasn't a big fan of Captain America Boys. I thought it kind of fell off halfway through the season, and as soon as you got rid of Nemo, and you started to make it about the power broker, and then you had, the characters talk about, it just didn't work for me. I thought it could have been shorter, maybe it could have been a movie. But this, Loki, is fantastic. I could watch Tom Hiddleston as Loki all damn day. And if we get Thor showing up later on, or if we get more cameos, honestly, I'm not saying we even need them, but that would be amazing. And, bringing in Owen Wilson, is great. And I love that right now we just have these two characters. It kind of reminds me of going back to the early days of Iron Man, which is really smart on behalf of the MCU, because we've definitely inflated the balloon on the MCU so big with Endgame that it's like, where do you go? You have to get a new balloon and start over again. And I really miss those small personal stories, and that seems to be what Loki is. Fantastic episode, guys. Fantastic. Alright guys, so overall I'm going to give episode 1 Glorious Purpose an 8 out of 10. I thought it was a fantastic opening to a new show. It does everything that you want to do. It's a lot of exposition, and they do show, it's pretty much all of the trailers. And, but granted, I watched all the trailers because I was obsessed with this show. I was like, I can't wait. So maybe I spoiled myself a little bit. But what a great start, man. What a great universe building that they did here. I love the TVA. I love that scene when they walk out to the balcony and we're just looking at all this floating stuff, and he's like, oh, I thought you said there was no magic. And he's like, there's no magic here. Time just works differently. And I'm really excited, man. I really love the character of Loki. This is so much fun. But be sure to comment down below. Be sure to subscribe. We're going to be doing this every single week, following every single episode. And I really want to know what you thought of Loki episode 1. And until next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. I've been John. You've been Burns here on Burns Reviews, and we will see you next time.